In the first episode, we looked at how to achieve a good result when vacuum forming interim and test sockets. We follow a very similar process with definitive sockets made from ThermoLyn soft black. But there are some special features that have to be taken into account. Let's go through the process step by step. Before we start with any further preparations, my colleague places the plaster model in the cold oven. It has only just been removed from the mold and is still wet. We now switch on the oven and heat it. The warm plaster model prevents temperature shocks to the thermoplastic material during vacuum forming. Let's continue with the preparations. We use a welded residual limb sock, place the valve dummy in readiness and remove the film from the sheet plate. We put the barcode with our documents. Now the sheet has to be cleaned with isopropyl alcohol and clamped in the vacuum forming frame. When the correct temperature has been reached, we place the thermoplastic sheet in the oven with the plaster model. The setting of the correct temperature also depends on the type of oven. We have an infrared oven here. The correct temperature for ThermoLyn soft black is 130 degrees C. The oven time depends on the thickness of the sheet. A good rule is 1 minute in the oven per millimeter of thickness of the sheet. In our example, 12 millimeter thickness of the sheet means about 12 minutes of oven time. We can use this time to prepare the plaster model. To do so, we take it from the oven and clamp it. We now moisten the sock with silicone grease and then pour it over the model. We also treat the plaster model with silicone grease, which gives it a smooth surface. This is the location where we will shortly screw in the valve dummy. So we cut the hole in the residual limb sock and then screw the dummy in. Another good rule for the correct melting temperature of the sheet is the depth to which it sags should be about 2/3 of the height of the plaster model it is pulled over. For vacuum forming, it is recommended that you wear smooth vacuum forming gloves and pull on nitrile gloves over them. All that is required now is some dexterity. The center of the sheet should be placed on the center of the model. The next task is to manage two processes simultaneously. Both the slow vacuum forming as well as the shaping, with the goal of achieving as uniform a wall thickness as possible. In order to prevent wrinkles, the vacuum is activated slowly. The formed socket must now cool. Here too, a common mistake is to accelerate this cooling process, for example with ice-cold air, or to try to save time by turning off the vacuum too early. Neither of these is recommended since they reduce the quality of the socket, so some patience is also required here. After the outer socket has been completed, the edge as well as the dummy of the soft thermoplastic socket can be cut free with a sharp knife and then removed from the mold. Before we start to grind, we trim the socket edge with the help of a leather cutter. The edge processing then follows. We first grind with a coarse drum, then with a fine sander, then with a polishing disc. To get the edges really smooth, we can use a silicone cone and a hot air gun. But here too, please note that the heat can deform the material if it remains in one spot for too long. What should be avoided at all costs is the use of thinners and solvents. They reduce the service life of the socket. If you recognize some steps in this film, it is probably because you're familiar with the first episode. It deals with the vacuum forming of interim and test sockets, and some processes are identical. If you do not yet know the episode, it is definitely worth taking a look, even if you see some steps twice. After all, 2 is better than 1. We wish you every success and optimal results when vacuum forming.